Hello, Marauders. Here I am at the football game. And this week is our last week. We're going to learn about quadratics. We're going to learn how to solve problems that have more than one answer. More than one answer? Yes, more than one answer. Oh. Yes, they're quadratics. And we're going to use something called the quadratic formula and all about the parabola. So pretty fascinating stuff. You're going to be doing this in Math 2. Oh boy, Math 2. All I know how to do is multiply. All right, so let's check it out. All right, so this week we're going to be solving and graphing quadratics. This is Math 2 stuff. You're going to be doing this like the first month or so in Math 2, but it could be confusing, so you really need to learn it now and get a head start. So what's a quadratic? Well, that's a trinomial, like this. ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And you go, what's that? Well, a, b, and c are numbers. Let me put some numbers in, like 3x squared plus 2x plus 5. Remember we did these and we factored them apart? Now this one might be really hard to factor. It might even be impossible to factor, but it's never really impossible. If I were to solve this and I'm saying, what number do you plug in that makes it 0? Well, I could factor, but what if I'm stuck? So we're going to learn all about that this week. Okay, so for today, we're going to focus on the parabola. You go, wait a minute, I know about parabolas. Let's say I threw a ball or an arrow, or I fired a cannonball. Where did it land? Wouldn't you be interested in knowing where it landed? I know, here's the vertex, the highest point, but where does it land and where did I throw it from or kick it from? So let's figure this out. Let's start with a simple equation, but the equation of this, the path that any object follows through the air, does it go in a straight line? No, it comes back to Earth because of gravity. And here's gravity's equation. We'll put y, because y is up and down, or instead of y, how about we use h for height? The height of an object, right? The height is this equation, negative 16 t squared. I'm starting. Now wait, what's t squared? What's a square? A square is a parabola. Negative, it's an unhappy parabola. It's an upside down parabola. The path of a ball through the air is perfectly a parabola. Not a U, not close, but exactly follows that. I'm not done yet. Why the 16? Because that's gravity's pull. This is in feet and seconds. Okay, this is a unit. T is going to be time for seconds. We can put in the time to figure out where the ball is. And negative 16 is the number we use for feet. Now there's more to the equation. There's another part, plus VT. What's V? V is velocity. Well, how far this ball goes and how high, doesn't it depend on the velocity? And velocity is like the speed. You know, if I throw it really, really hard, it's going to go really fast. But if I just barely throw it, it's not going to go far. So here you put in the speed that you threw it. And lastly, we have S. And what's S? S is the starting height. Normally, I would just throw it from the ground. Actually, am I on the ground? Isn't my arm like a few feet in the air? I could put a number there. What if I went on top of a building and stood up here and just dropped a rock off of it? Then we might have a different starting height. And what do you notice about this equation? This is in that format, a x squared plus bx plus c. Instead of x, we have t. And these are our numbers, a, b, and c. We can put some numbers in here like negative 16 t squared. This will always be 16. The speed could be maybe like 32. And we can have a starting height of like 10. Doesn't this look like something you could factor? That's pretty cool. Because you know when you factor it, these are these. These answers are where you were and where it lands. Okay, let's see how to do this. Let's start with something a little bit easier. Okay, so we'll start with a simple equation. X squared is a happy parabola. And you might remember how to graph this. You kind of go, let's see, where does it go? Ah, the vertex. This is a parabola, but not at 0, it's down 4. I could make a table, and the lowest this could be a 0, and you get negative 4. This is a parabola down at 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, -4. Remember how it goes up? And we even did that 1, 3, 5. What if I didn't have graph paper? Well, it's going to go up like this, like this. What I'd like to know is, where are these places right here? Where does it touch the ground? Maybe I'm standing here and looking at this big hole. If you were to spin this around and around 3D, it would look like this. Like this, and this would be kind of curved. This would be kind of a 3D-ish shape. There's like the center. This is called a paraboloid. And where would you see this? How about like the top of a rocket ship that we just launched? And here's the rest of the rocket ship. That'd be a nose cone. That's a paraboloid. So we're wondering where these are at. Well, if I thought about this, this is down -4. This point is, how much is it over? It's something 0, isn't it? And over here, there's another answer. It's something 0. We call these the zeros. If we'd like to know when the height of this parabola is at a height of 0. Now, if we turned it upside down, isn't that kind of like throwing a ball? And when it hits the ground, the height is at 0. But let's do it this way first. So how do I find that? I want to know when y is 0. Let's go over to this equation, and we're going to take this y, and you want it to be 0. So we're going to rewrite this equation as this. 0 equals x squared minus 4. And you're going to solve it. And there's more than one way to solve it, but let's factor it. So you're always going to set it equal to 0 to find the zeros. You can't find the 3's or something. You set it equal to 0. Okay, so let's factor it. Remember how to factor this? Sure, we did it last week. Here's the first piece on the left, x times x. There's no middle this time, is there? There's no middle term. There's no b. This is like a, there's no b, and this is c. Okay, so we'll look at the last piece, -4. How about a positive times a negative? 2 times 2 will be -4. And how come there's no middle? Because remember, check the bottom of Charlie Brown's face. 2x minus 2x. Oh yeah, 2x minus 2x. That's 0. That's why there's no middle. So why did I do that? Okay, so the reason I factored it is because, remember, this equals 0. If I were trying to do this, now I could probably guess, what's squared, take away 4 is 0. Could you guess the answer? I might so, because that's kind of easy. And isn't there 2 answers? In fact, there's a rule that says, if you have a square, there's 2 answers to a problem. In fact, if this were a 3, there'd be 3 answers. So let's check this out, though. I factored it apart. And now I got 2 problems. Remember we did this first semester? If something times something is 0, something times something is 0. Doesn't one of these have to be 0? Like 3 times 0, 4 times 0? So what we're going to do, so we broke it apart, we're going to treat this as 2 mini problems. This is a problem, and this is a problem. And each one is equal to 0. So you're going to go, okay, something times something is 0. So you're going to take this first one, x plus 2, and you're just going to set it equal to 0. Then you take the other one, x minus 2, and set it equal to 0. Solve each of these baby problems. Move the 2 over, x is -2. That must be this one over here, -2. Now solve this one. Move this over here, add 2, x is +2. That's your other answer. I guess that's this one, +2. Those are what we call the zeros. They're also called the x-intercepts, because that's where the graph intercepts the x-axis. Sometimes people call them the roots. Yes, I guess because a plant has its roots in the ground. Some people just call them the solutions. Or it satisfies the equation. So yeah, I could have solved this problem here without factoring it, but when the problems get more difficult, factoring is how I'm going to do it. If I put this on graph paper, this does make sense. Remember that this was down here at 4? Remember our trick? On a parabola, up 1. Then it goes up 3. 1, 2, 3 over 1. And then remember, you make the mirror image. 1, 1, 2, 3. 1. Isn't that 2? And that -2? I could have did that, right? 1, 3. Next one would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then of course 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But people are most interested in these dots here and this right here, the vertex. Now, once again, I could have solved this problem another way. I could have took this problem 0 equals x squared minus 4. And I could have said, why don't I just move the 4 to the other side? Add the 4 and go, what squared is 4? Well, how do you get rid of a square? You square root. Now you might say, what's the square root of 4? 2. Well, where do you get the negative 2? Well, couldn't it be negative 2? Isn't a negative times a negative a positive? People will go like this. They'll write this. They'll write this, which means positive or negative. And you say plus or minus 2. That's a way you can do it. So here's just a little side note. If someone says, what's the square root of 25? You say 25. But if somebody says, what squared is 25? You have to go like this. Okay, you have to say plus or minus 5. Because if someone says, what numbers could you plug in to make 25? There's 2 possibilities. But if I just say, what's the square root of 25? People give us one answer. Like your calculator only gives you one answer. But if I say solve this, you have to come up with all the numbers that will work in there, and there's 2 answers. Let's try another one of these. Okay, so here's how the question is. They're going to say graph this, find the zeros, and find the vertex. So first of all, I know it's a parabola. It's a happy parabola. In fact, does it start at 0, 0? No, it starts down 9. We'll talk a little bit more about how to find the start if you have a difficult one. So it's down 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's our translation thing. There it is at negative 9. In fact, that's 0, negative 9. That's the vertex. 0, negative 9. And then it's going to go up. But I don't have my graph here. And I could go 1, 3, 5. I'm just going to go like this. Where does it touch? Well, once again, this is something 0. And this is something 0. Now you try to guess what goes in there, right? You want y to be 0. I bet you can just guess, right? What squared minus 9 is 0? Most of you are probably saying, well, 3 and negative 3. But what if you couldn't do it? Remember I showed you 2 ways to do it? You could just move the 9 over and go, what squared is 9? Oh, 3 and 3. But what if you had a too difficult one? Let's try factoring it. I'll go down here. As long as this is 0, you can do this. We'll factor it, x and x, plus 3, minus 3. 3 times 3 is negative 9. And then you get your 2 baby problems. This one and this one. What plus 3 is 0? What minus 3 is 0? There's your 2 problems. This one, negative 3. This one, positive 3. So this must be 3. This must be negative 3. You're going to say the zeros are 3, 0 and negative 3, 0. Doesn't matter which one you tell me first. Let's try another. Okay. Now it's like an unhappy parabola. Where is it? Well, it's upside down, right? It's frowning. Looks like it starts at 25. Wow, I couldn't even use graph paper. It'd be way up here at 0, 25. That's the vertex, 0, 25. It won't always be this number, but for this one it is because there's no middle. Now I know this parabola is going down, and it could keep going down. Where is this? Okay, you're probably already guessing the answer, but let's solve it. 0 equals negative x squared plus 25. To factor it, it's really hard to do when there's a negative in front. What I like to do is take out the negative, undistribute the negative, and go a negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, so a negative and a negative. Because this is easier to factor. Nobody likes a negative in front of this. X and x. What do you do with this negative? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't have any number. It doesn't have a letter. Plus 5, minus 5. You got 2 problems to solve. In fact, some people just do it in their head. What takeaway 5 is 0? And some people just go right ahead and say it's 5. 5 makes it 0. This must be 5, 0. That's one of the zeros. 5, 0. The other one, what plus 5 is 0? Let's go to save time. Say negative 5. Negative 5 makes it 0. This one must be negative 5, 0. And negative 5, 0. Because that's what we care about. If you were shooting a cannonball, you want to know where it lands. Boom, because maybe you're trying to shoot the enemy. Or if it's an angry bird, you're trying to see where it lands. Let's get more complicated. Okay, so now this is more complicated. The vertex is not 3. Totally wrong. It is not 3. And the reason is this messes it up. This makes it more complicated. But when you graph this, I'm interested in the vertex. Like, how high does the ball go? Don't you want to know the top highest point? And where does it touch the ground? Now, does this look like a path of a ball? No, this is positive. So this one's actually this way. So I'm wondering, where is it? But it's not in the center. Let's find the zeros first. You can find the vertex first. You go, how do you find the vertex? Let's find the zeros first. It's easier. Set it equal to 0, factor it apart. See, you're trying to come up with 2 answers. If I said, what would you plug in here that makes it 0? Gee, that's kind of hard to guess, right? It's not 3. So it's so hard to guess. And there's 2 answers that make it 0. So if you break it apart into 2 baby problems, you could get the answers much easier. So you got to be good at factoring. He's on the left, x and x. He's on the right, 3. 3 times 1. How do you get a positive, but he's negative? How about a negative times a negative? Make sure you get 4. If this doesn't make 4, this is wrong. That's a tomorrow lesson. If you're like really stuck, I'll tell you how to do it if you're really stuck. Minus 3, minus 1, minus 4. It makes the middle. So this was way too hard to guess what makes it 0. But now it's super easy. Look, you got 2 little problems. Just cover one of these up. Cover one of them up. What take away 3 is 0? These are your 2 problems. What minus 3 is 0? And here's your other baby problem. What take away 1 is 0? Just solve each one of these. Move the 3 over. X is 3. If you plug in 3, you get 0. Put on your graph. 1, 2, 3. I haven't even drawn the parabola because I don't even know where it's at. Here's 3 comma 0. And let's do this other one. Move the 1 over. X is 1. So 1 comma 0 is a 0. Oh, that's over here. 1, 0. So where's the parabola? It's a happy parabola. Where do you think the vertex is? If I'm hanging a necklace here or a rope, how low does it go? Where is the middle of this graph? What is exactly in between 1 and 3? Shouldn't it be in 2? When you draw a parabola, you're not going to go, ooh, there's the parabola. That doesn't make sense. You know, it's got to be centered. It's like a sock or something there. So I know it's kind of going up here. And then it's coming down here. But does it go way down? Or just a little bit? Well, in between should be 2, right? 2. 2 what? Okay. You got to plug it in. Plug it in. Figure out what dot is. You know, you can sit here and plug a whole bunch of numbers in. That takes all day. Let's plug in 2. Now, when you plug it in, you have a choice. You can plug it in the original question, which most people do, but it's so much easier to plug it in this one. Let's plug it in the top one, because most people do that, and it's like, you just making more work on yourself. If you put 2 in here, you get 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 3. Let's see, 2 squared is 4 minus 8 plus 3. See, this is kind of difficult. You don't want to make a mistake. 4 and 3 is 7. 7 minus 8. So don't subtract 11, order of operations. 7 minus 8 is negative 1. When you plug in 2, you get negative 1, which makes sense. 2, yeah, right there. 2, negative 1. This is the vertex. Okay, very important, vertex. These were the zeros. So now you can draw your parabola in, whoop, right there. It's absolutely perfect, 2, negative 1. Now, I plugged in there. I recommend you plug it in here. This is the same thing. If you plug 2 in here, it's so much easier. What do you mean? Watch. Plug 2 in there and plug 2 in there. What's 2 minus 3? 2 minus 3 is negative 1, isn't it? Plug 2 in here. Plug it in, the whole problem. 2 minus 1 is 1. What is negative 1 times positive 1? Negative 1 times positive 1 is -1. Then you don't have to deal with all this. And that's where the point is. That's the vertex. So this is called a quadratic. And you go, what's a quadratic? A quadratic is just a trinomial, 1, 2, 3 parts. It's just a trinomial, but it's a trinomial that has a square, then just a regular x, and then just a regular number. This is A, B, and C. Here's something else about find the vertex. Is it possible to find the vertex before the zeros? Yes. There's a little neat shortcut. Here's a rule for the vertex. It's this. The vertex, the x-coordinate that the vertex is at, the x part, is the opposite of B over 2A. You should totally remember this one. Opposite of B over 2A. You want to mean B and 2 and A. Where are you getting these things from? Okay, if you look back at the original question, x squared minus 4x plus 3. Okay, this is A, B, C. They're in order. Here, I guess we put a 1 right there. Here, A is 1, and here, B is -4. Here's A, here's B. So if you take the opposite of the middle number, what's the opposite of -4? The opposite of -4 is +4 over 2 times A. A is 1. 4 over 2 is 2. That's right, that's 2. You still got to plug it in, but it's a way to find the vertex or double check. Kind of difficult. Okay, here we go. Man, this is all math too. You're expected to be good at this. You're going to get taught it next year, but I say you could get confused. So let's get this preview going. Okay, graph that parabola. You might say, this isn't like what we did in the past, vertex form, is it? No, it's not that vertex form. You can't see the vertex right away. I will tell you about that a little bit though. Okay, so could you find the vertex right away? Well, if you would like to, remember, all you got to do is the opposite of B over 2A. Okay. In fact, I'll make a little table here. I don't want to sit here and plug in numbers all day. Okay, remember, here's A, B, C. It's in order. So A is 2 and B is 8. So if you want to know the vertex right away, which is good, just to check, you know, the opposite of 8 is -8. And then we have over 2 times A. A is 2. -4, whoops, -8 over 4. -8 over 4 is -2. Ah, the vertex is at -2. Okay, -2. -2. -2 what? Oh, you got to plug it in, right? Do you want to plug it in here? Because you have to do PEMDAS. You'd have to square it, then times it, then go 8 times -2, then subtract 42. Let's get back to that and plug it in a little bit. Okay, let's find the zeros. But you know this is the center. Some people like to put a little dashed line called a line of symmetry. Remember that? Line of symmetry where we did those folding? Except when you do these, some people don't call it the line of symmetry. They call it the axis of symmetry. Okay, it's the same thing. Don't get scared here, axis, just a line of symmetry. Let's find the zeros. So I know if this is the center, and it's a happy parabola, remember squares are parabolas, I know it's something like this. This is the middle, goes out here, but is it up here? Is it down here? Let's find the zeros and factor it. Oh man, this looks hard to factor. Make this 0. Oh wait, did you notice these are all even? Let's take out a 2, because the biggest I can take out is a 2. I can't take out like a 7. Usually has a 2. Let's take out a 2. Very important. Too hard to factor. Get the numbers smaller. It's like simplifying it. X squared, 2 times 4, 2 times 21. Okay, this 2, we'll just leave in a parentheses. You don't need them. You don't have a letter. You don't have a letter. You don't have an answer. Here's where the letters are at. This is what we want to know. So we're just going to ignore him for now. We're going to factor this. Remember, it equals 0. In fact, you could divide the 2 out right now. 0 over 2 is 2. Factor this. What does it factor into? You try it. You get the zeros. Go ahead and pause the video. You find the zeros. Go. One's on each side. Where are they? All right, welcome back. Here's my factoring. I did x times x. 21, I did 7 times 3. It's a negative. Who's negative? I'm going to go positive times negative because 7x, take off 3x. What's 7 minus 3? 4. I needed a positive 4. Okay, so here's my 2 baby problems. Something plus 7 is 0. and something minus 3 is 0. You just take these two things. Otherwise, who thinks they can guess what would you plug in here to make 0? You see? Now you see the value of factoring. So this problem right here, move the 7 over. X is -7. Okay, so -7 makes a 0. Because you could try right now. You could plug -7 in here and here. Maybe you can use a calculator. You'll get 0. So -7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. -7 is a 0. -7, 0. And let's do this guy. +3. +3 is a 0. Let's write 3, 0. 1, 2, 3. Boop, right there, 3, 0. Okay, let's draw the parabola. Which way? Up? It's positive, isn't it? This is positive. If A is positive, it's a happy parabola because as you square numbers, 10 squared, 20 squared, 30 squared, times 2. Oh my God, they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's going up, up. And this goes down, down, down. This is the middle, where this is the axis of symmetry. They should call it line, but they call it axis. That's going to be in the middle. If you put the vertex over here, like what type of weird gravity is that? What type of weird hole is that? And this point is, remember we did this, minus b over 2a? It's at -2. And in fact, some people just count in. You count it in. What if you average these? What's the average? What's between -7 and 3? What's the median of -7 and 3? Remember, you could average them. -7 plus 3 is -4 over 2. -2. Oh yeah, -2. -2 what? You got to plug it in. Okay, and once again, the people that don't pay attention plug the -2 in here and make it really hard on themselves. The smart people plug -2 in here, not here. You got to find the entire problem. You still need all of that. Smart people put it, I'm sorry, forget that. Let me bring down this 2. I shouldn't cross it out. That was bad of me because I actually need it now. This is the same as this, isn't it? So forget this part here. Let's plug -2 in this big problem. Why? It's so much easier. Let me bring this down. 2, x plus 7, x minus 3. You're welcome to plug it in there, but it's so much easier plugging in here. Put in -2 plus 7, -2 minus 3. So let's see, 2, 7 minus 2 is 5, -5. 2 times 5 times -5, see that's 10 times -5, -50. Oh my God, -50. This is way down here at -50. That's the vertex. Okay, that's what you're expected to do because we like to follow the path of these. If this problem had a negative in front, it may be more like that. It's very important I know the trajectory. Like when I shoot a rocket in the air, I need to know how high does it go and where is it going to land. What if this was an attacking army? And they're all mad. I need to shoot my cannonball and get them. I don't want to miss. Okay, so you get to try the worksheet. There's 4. There's a picture there. Factor them apart. Get the zeros. Find the vertex. You know, it's in between. You can do the minus b over 2a. Make your graph. Here's another one. Make it a little harder. Here's a negative. He's an unhappy parabola. How do you do that? Some people try to go x times -x, which works. But it's easier to pull the negative out to the front, distribute the negative, and then try to do it. Remember, he's upside down. And here's one. Oh, take the 2 out first, unless you think you can do it. So try those 4. Tomorrow, we're going to get a little more fancy. I'm going to go for cubes tomorrow. What if there's 3 zeros? What? Yeah, 3 zeros. Why not? That's like a math 3 thing. And what if it was so difficult you couldn't factor it? You kept guessing and you couldn't figure it out, or it was impossible. I'll show you how to get the zeros for that too. All right, so do the worksheet. There's nothing to submit. I posted the answers. You just do it in practice. See you tomorrow.